Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4, Chat with Corey. I'm ready for this one. I've been waiting for this one since Sunday, so I've got a lot of interesting things for you today. Can't wait for it. I'm pumped up. Let's get started. All righty. The first thing we're going to talk about IU football is number 1 in the country. As I said last week, IU football, if they win the Big Ten championship, the number 2 team in the college football playoff would be Ohio State. Exactly what happened. I said it last week. That's what happened. The Hoosiers beat the Buckeyes. They are number 1 in the country. I am an IU fan. I've been an IU football fan since the days of Coach Bill Mallory, Anthony Thompson, Von Dunbar, Trent Green, some of those guys I watched in the late 80s and early 90s. Never thought IU football, Big Ten championship, number 1 team in the country, and arguably one of the top favorites to win the national championship. So that's exciting. I'm excited about that. I've always been an IU football fan. I am a Notre Dame football fan. We'll get to that in just a minute. But I've always been an IU football fan. Always been a Notre Dame football fan. Always been a Ball State Cardinal football fan. Back to the days of Coach Paul Shudell and the Cardinals, and and the former coach Mike New as a player, winning some MAC championships, and Brady Hoke's great teams in the early 2000s. What a just time it was to be a Cardinal football fan, and hopefully they get back to that. But today's show is going to be dominated with the hottest topic in the country, the college football playoff. The team that was left out, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they are left out of the college football playoff. Everybody and their brother or their sister or their mother or their father have an opinion. And I'm going to give you my opinion at the end, but I'm going to spin everything, that all the negativity that's been going on with Notre Dame and the college football playoff, and all the trash talk and all the things people have said negatively about them and their program. I'm going to spin it. And I'm going to give you my thought at the end, my opinion at the end, but I'm going to give you some things to think about. All these people who never played, all these people who never coached out there with an opinion. Yes, some of them have played, some of them have coached, and they still have strong opinions. But a lot of these people are just talking heads, just like myself, but they're professionals, and I'm just doing it for fun. But we're going to get started, and we're going to talk about it. So the first thing I want to talk about, Alabama. Alabama lost 3 games this year. 3. Notre Dame lost 2. Miami of Florida lost 2. BYU lost 2. Alabama lost 3. They lost in the SEC championship game. Did not play well, lost in the SEC championship game, and they are still in the college football playoff. Now, people are going to argue that the SEC is probably the best college football conference, but number 1 and number 2 were in the Big Ten, so let's not forget that little nugget. But so people are saying that they should have got in. I don't understand how you can be judged by your conference championship game and say just making the conference championship game is good enough. Just making the conference championship game is good enough, and you're Alabama and you lose, but you're not going to be punished or docked anything. The projected college football playoff last week had Alabama at number 9. This week has Alabama officially in at number 9. Ohio State was number 1. They lose in their conference championship game and they become number 2, so they drop. Georgia is bumped up to number 3 because they won the SEC championship game, so they're bumped up to number 3. Texas Tech is bumped up to number 4 because they won their Big 12 championship. So where am I going? Here's where I'm going. The team, they say that you're not using the championship games. You can be bumped up in the championship game if you win, but if you lose, somehow that can't hurt you. I don't understand. Why is it not allowed to hurt you? It doesn't make any sense. It can help you, but it can't hurt you. That's ridiculous. That's what that is. That's ridiculous. Because it sure hurt BYU. BYU lost in their conference championship game, and it dropped them 1 or 2 spots. I think 1 spot. They were number 11. They dropped to number 12. Alabama loses. They don't go anywhere. Now, I like Alabama. Alabama is a storied college football program. I get that. But how is it fair to BYU? BYU, you're dropped because you know what? You lost. You lost in your conference championship game. So did Alabama. So I don't think just making the conference championship game is good enough to put you in a place to win the national championship in college football. I don't understand. BYU lost twice, and both times to Texas Tech. Texas Tech is the number 4 team in the final college playoff. Texas Tech is the number 4 team in the final college playoff, and that's the only 2 losses BYU has had. We'll get to that in just a second. So that is the next thing I want to point out is, yes, Miami is in. And they're saying Miami is in over Notre Dame. Admitted, Notre Dame football fan. But let's talk about something. Interesting to me that the head-to-head matchup counts, even though it was the very first game of the year. Very first game of the year, the head-to-head with Miami counts. Does anybody know what Alabama did in the very first game of the year? Alabama, in the very first game of the year, lost to Florida State. Florida State was bad, people. They were bad. Didn't hurt Alabama to lose the first game of the year to Florida State, but it hurts Notre Dame to lose the first game of the year to Miami, who's in the college football playoff, who's been ranked all year, who's been talked about all year about having a chance to make the 12-team college football playoff. But Alabama loses to Florida State, and we seem to forget that. So, the other thing, people don't like to hear it, but I'm going to say it. Notre Dame starting quarterback in that first game of the year versus Miami was a freshman, and they improved tremendously over the year. Notre Dame improved tremendously over the year. C.J. Carr improved tremendously over the year. They have 2 losses. Number 4 in the college football playoff, Texas Tech, by 1 point. And number 10, Miami in the college football playoff by 3 points at Miami, first game of the year with a freshman quarterback. But all we can talk about is the head-to-head. Okay, I'll get to this. I'll get to it. I'll get to my opinion at the end. I'm just giving you some stats that I find interesting when everybody's talking. One other thing I'd like to mention about Miami. Miami loses to two unranked teams. When they started the projection for the college football playoff about 7 weeks ago, Notre Dame was 6-2, and Miami was 6-2, and Notre Dame was ahead of them the whole time. The whole time. Notre Dame doesn't play. Miami doesn't play. Miami improves a spot. Notre Dame drops a spot, but the whole time they were ahead of them. People don't like Notre Dame's coach or athletic director and what he said about how they just feel a little slighted and how they felt like they were in, and we'll get to that in a minute. But it's just something to think about. It's just something to think about. Miami lost to 2 unranked opponents. Notre Dame's 2 losses were to 2 college football playoff teams by a combined 4 points. It just doesn't make sense, people, when you think about it. It just doesn't make sense. The next thing I would like to talk about with all of this is everybody wants to talk about Notre Dame's strength of schedule. Notre Dame's weakest team on their schedule, you could probably say, was Navy as far as the power rankings go. And they've been playing Navy for 100 years. Now, strength of schedule. Miami plays in the ACC. ACC football is not strong, people. They're not strong. The team that just won the ACC conference championship is 8-5 Duke. Miami didn't even play in their conference championship. 8-5 Duke is your champion in the ACC. Don't give me schedule strength. Don't give me schedule strength. We'll get to that in a minute. But don't give me the schedule strength. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't make sense. If you do a little research, do a little homework, schedule strength for Miami over Notre Dame doesn't make sense. They played a team, Bethune-Cookman, who was 5-6. Who is Bethune-Cookman? Exactly. 5-6. Bethune-Cookman is on Miami's schedule. But Notre Dame plays a weak schedule. Whatever, people. Whatever. You people crack me up. The next thing, BYU. BYU was right there around Notre Dame. Notre Dame's schedule's weak. BYU played 1-11 Portland State. Who? Yeah, exactly. Portland State. Who are they? Who cares? The next team, East Carolina. Okay, East Carolina. If you're on this side of the country, we're here in the Midwest, you may have heard of East Carolina. They're 8-4, but they are not a Power 5 conference school. They're just not. So it's just ridiculous to judge Notre Dame by their schedule and their schedule strength when those other teams are playing people weaker than that. And then you got Alabama playing University of Louisiana Monroe at 3-9. Alabama's playing Eastern Illinois at 3-9. But it's okay because Alabama plays in the SEC, so they can play the little boys, the little brothers, so to speak. Ridiculous. You know, and another thing I looked at is the number of ranked teams that Notre Dame played. Notre Dame played 4 top 25 ranked teams. Miami played 4 top 25 ranked teams. Indiana University played 4 ranked top 25 teams, but one of them was Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Indiana played 3. They played 3 top 25 college football teams, and one of them was Ohio State. And Ohio State played 4, and one of them was Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. So all these arguments, yeah, they're arguments, and you can let them be realistic to you, and you can let them work in there. But if you think about it, you can have an argument for every point that people are making. And I know it goes both ways, but don't give me that garbage about their schedule and about how they don't deserve to be in. They're beating a bunch of nobodies. A lot of those teams that they play and beat, Pittsburgh, Boston College, University of Southern Cal, Arkansas, those teams that they beat are Power 5 teams who have had some rich tradition and some strong tradition in college football. So don't act like they're not, that their schedule is just ridiculous. And once again, we're going to get to that in a minute. I just have all kinds of comments here. The committee chair even says that if we don't put Miami in, then we wouldn't have a representative in from the ACC. What? Put the best teams in. What are you talking about? So he said that on national TV on the Reveal show. Doesn't make sense. So here's what I think. I think that ESPN use Notre Dame for clickbait, to create some drama, to get some interest. They knew all along that Miami beat Notre Dame at the very beginning of the year. They knew that all along. And then they play it on the SEC network all week leading up to the college football playoff reveal show. They're playing they're playing that game every day on the SEC network. So it just finds it to me. It's all about money. People could say it's all about money with Notre Dame not being in a conference, but it's all about money. They wanted the interest, they wanted the eyes, and so they put the eyes on it. That is for sure. It just seems like they were using Notre Dame as clickbait. So it's interesting to me. Here's what I think. I don't think Tulane and James Madison have any business making it. Okay? They don't have any business. They are not the top 12 teams in the country. If they're going to do this and they're going to do it right, I don't care which poll you use, which rating system you use, just pick the top 12 teams in one of those polls, decide it. Don't have all these amendments to it that we're going to try this and we're going to put these in and we want the highest ranking conference champion to get this spot. No, the top 12 teams. Just do it that way. It's the easiest way to do it. I think if you went to 16 teams, you could just do the top 16 teams. Just do the top 16 teams. Seed the top 5. The top 5 best teams. Yes, you want to know who they are, but then after that, it's at large. The next 11 schools, the next 7 schools, if it's 12, put them in there. The Power 5 conferences is where the football's at. So lots of interesting comments, lots of interesting thoughts that I have there. Notre Dame declined their bowl bid. Yes, Notre Dame declined their bowl bid. Notre Dame took their ball and went home. I can't believe it. They're doing that to the kids. Wah, wah, wah. Well, here's the deal. They have the right. You know, the old saying for coaches was coach your team. They have the right. Be the athletic director at your university. They have the right to do whatever they want to do. It's their choice. But the thing that I would like to point out, what about the 9 other schools? There are 10 schools. Notre Dame, Iowa State, Kansas, Florida State, Auburn, UCF, and Baylor all opted out of bowl games. But we're not talking about them. We're only talking about Notre Dame opting out of bowl games. Whatever. They're not the only one that does it. Too many people trying to make it like March Madness and the teams on the bubble to get in the field in March Madness. Okay, but here's the thing. There's always teams that don't make it into the field for the field of 68 for March Madness, and they get their NIT invitation, and they decline it. They're ready to move on to next year, and they decline it. It's their right. I don't like it. I don't like it when IU did it. I don't like, as a Notre Dame fan, that we don't get to see Jeremiah Love play again. But the rumors I'm hearing is Jeremiah Love wasn't going to play in just a regular old bowl game, wasn't going to play in the Pop-Tart Bowl and make some money for Pop-Tarts at ESPN. So if he's not going to play, and some of their other better players are not going to play, who wants to watch that game? Do we remember Florida State in 2023? They should have been in the college football playoff, and they weren't. And they paired them with Georgia, and Georgia drilled them because Florida State had so many players opt out and say they weren't going to play. It wasn't a good game. Who wants to watch that? Nobody. Nobody wants to watch it. Who cares? They don't want to play in the bowl game. Watch the teams that want to play then. Don't be a Notre Dame fan. That's fine. They don't care. Notre Dame doesn't care. It's just crazy to me. I don't understand why people have to be so hateful. I don't understand why people have to be so hateful. So I compared it to the March Madness situation. As a basketball coach, it's much easier to find ways for the little guy to be the Cinderella in March Madness. It's not going to happen in college football. Too much money, and too many of those players are going to the big time schools for the money, and it's just not going to happen. JMU, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet anything on JMU making it or winning a game. I wouldn't bet on Tulane winning a game. I'm not even sure I would bet on either team to cover the spread. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. So those are my thoughts. Those are my arguments. Those are my frustrations. Rutgers and Temple are the other two teams to join or to decline an invitation to the bowl game. Those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions. Those are my arguments. Okay, now let's be real. Let me be real. All right, I can buy Miami beat Notre Dame head to head. They had the same record. Even though Notre Dame was better in every other category other than they had the same record. But Miami beat them head to head, put Miami in. I get it. Does it look bad that Notre Dame doesn't want to play in a bowl game? Yeah, it does. It does look bad. I get it. I can accept it. I will watch the college football playoff. I will be rooting for the Indiana Hoosiers. I just wish I had that game like I had last year where Notre Dame was playing IU and whoever won was fine with me. It's just hard to sit here and listen to people talk about how Notre Dame's making the wrong decision for their players, the wrong decision for their program. It's not your program. It's not your players. But the same people were saying last week that they didn't care about Lane Kiffin's players when Lane Kiffin left to go to Ole Miss. They didn't care about it. They're saying, we don't care about this. It's not about the players. Who cares about the players? But then they're saying, oh, poor players here. It's just interesting that people argue and fight both sides. Notre Dame, I wish you would have accepted a bowl game. You didn't, and I'll still be a Notre Dame fan next year. But people who just don't want to listen and understand Notre Dame's side is just frustrating. It's just frustrating. A couple more things before we get off of here. A couple more frustrating things to me. Okay, they want Notre Dame. Notre Dame needs to join a conference. You can't force them to join a conference. First thing is this. If a TV network the size of NBC come to you and said, we will televise every game, we will get you the coverage, we will get you the money if you are not in a conference, would you join a conference? Would you join a conference? Whatever, people. Whatever. Then we're hearing, now it could be fake news. It could be fake news, but I read today on social media that members of the Big Ten said, if Notre Dame wants to come to the Big Ten, they better come for football and all their sports or don't come at all. You think Notre Dame cares, Big Ten? They don't. They don't care. Especially if they make some changes to the college football playoff format. They don't care. Notre Dame does not care. But you know what I would do to those people? Here's what I would do. Here's what I would do to those people that want me as Notre Dame to join a conference. I would go right back. I would go right back to the Big East. Do you know who the other Power 5 school independent is? UConn, University of Connecticut. Do you know what their conference affiliation in every other sport but football is? The Big East. Notre Dame was once in the Big East. Just go back to the Big East. Butler doesn't play football at a high level. Villanova doesn't play football at a high level. They play all the sub-bowl division stuff for football. And then a lot of those teams, St. John's, Seton Hall, Xavier, do they even have football teams anymore? I know they did at one time at Xavier, but do they have one anymore? So I would, if I was Notre Dame, I'd say, you know what, big ACC, you don't want us. We're a little frustrated with you on how you handle things. We'll just go back. We'll just go back to the Big East. We won't go join the stupid power conference with 18 schools, 17 schools, 16 schools. When I was a kid, they were like 8 to 12, and they were local. It wasn't Big Ten schools going to California to play conference game. Crazy. It's crazy. So, with that being said, I think I am okay as a Notre Dame fan that they didn't make it. I get that maybe Miami should have been in over them. I get why they didn't accept an invitation to a bowl game. I don't like it, but I get it. So you know what? And good luck to Notre Dame next year. Go IU. Win the national championship in college football. And you all just gave me something to ramble on today. I'm not sure that this was one of my best 3 or 4 out of the 3 or 4 of these I've done. I'm not sure if this is one of my best one, but it is one of the ones that I had the most to say about. Got me a little fired up. We left off some of the big things that I like to talk about.